Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, wherever in the world you may be joining us from today. My name is Francesco Del Carpio, and I am the CFL York Operations Coordinator. I would like to officially open the 8th session of the Drones for Public Health, Safety, Risk, Humanitarian, and Emergency Management Speaker Series, presented in partnership with York University's Advanced Disaster and Emergency Rapid Response Lab and the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology Center for Innovation and Research in Unmanned Systems. I would like to begin today's session with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge and recognize that many Indigenous nations have longstanding relationships with the territory upon which our campuses are located that precede the establishment of York University. The area is known as Tekaronto and has been caretaken by the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat. It is now home to many First Nation, Inuit, and Métis communities. We acknowledge the current treaty holders, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and that the territory is subject to the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region. As this is an online event and our participants may be joining from various locations, I strongly encourage you to learn about the traditional land upon which you are located. With this, I welcome our moderator, our speakers, and our participants from around the world. Welcome to our webinar. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our moderator and our partner for this series, Michel Arif. Michel Arif is a seasoned geospatial analyst and R&D project coordinator with a strong track record in project management and the strategic application of emerging technologies for disaster risk reduction. She holds a master's degree in disaster and emergency management and has a robust background in applied geospatial technologies. Michel has led and contributed to numerous research initiatives exploring the intersection of climate change, disaster trends, and innovative tools, such as UAVs and remote sensing for humanitarian response. Her work spans global humanitarian efforts as well as community-level resilience building. She is currently focused on advancing local disaster preparedness initiatives, working to bridge technological innovation with practical community-based solutions to enhance early warning systems, response strategies, and recovery planning. Michel, thank you very much for moderating today's session and your ongoing support throughout the series. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Francesco, for that kind introduction. And I apologize for the fire alarm if that got through. I did try to mute it before, but it was a scheduled test alarm, so I don't have to evacuate, and I'm glad it's done. But thank you all for joining us here today and taking the time to learn with us. We have a very exciting guest speaker lined up for you and team for session 8. The team is from SubSphere, presenting today about AI-enhanced drone-based demining solutions. But before I hand it over to them, I'd like to go over some housekeeping notes. As Francesco mentioned, I'll be the moderator today, which includes monitoring both the chat box and the Q&A box. Feel free to use both. Chat box for communal dialogue. Feel free to say hello and where you're joining us from. The Q&A box is open and will be open during the presentation. So if you have any questions that pop up, feel free to type them in there and we'll get to them at the end of this presentation. And I'll monitor the questions, and yeah, I won't interrupt them as they're speaking, but we'll get to them at the end. So our speakers for today are Shahab Moeini and Saeedeh Madani. Shahab Moeini is the Director and Chief Strategy Officer at SubSphere. He brings over 15 years of experience in business development and strategic planning. He has a strong background in UAV operations and leading cross-functional teams and driving growth initiatives. He is passionate about creating value through innovative strategies. We also have Saeedeh joining us. She is a senior GIS and geospatial scientist specializing in advanced analysis, remote sensing, and drone utilization. Her expertise drives innovation in environmental monitoring and application development. So without taking too much time, I'd like to open the floor up to our speakers. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Michel. Good morning, everybody. I would like to thank University of York CFL team and the Unitar group for inviting us for the presentation. As Michel mentioned, my name is Shahab Moeini. I'm working in SubSphere in collaboration with different groups, develop a solution for the demining with the main focus on particularly in Ukraine right now. Just Michel, I want to know, is the screen shared right now? Do you see my screen, the presentation?
Not yet.
Not yet. So I have to just get back right now. Okay. share the screen now.
How is it now?
Yep, looks good.
So as Michelle mentioned, we are from SubSphere Corporation, and SubSphere is an international group right now, and we are working with different groups in different areas. It's based in Canada, a Canada registered company. We have a group of the experts in AI, drone, remote sensing, GIS, advanced programming, and of course, military and defense background as well. There are some of our valued team are from the Canadian Armed Forces and work in different operational zones such as Afghanistan and Iraq. So we use their expertise extensively in this field. Currently, our work is a collaboration between Canadian entities and Ukrainian groups directly. And at the middle, we have the Switzerland main initiative groups on the landmine action, as Switzerland is the advocate for the anti-landmine operation right now. So at SubSphere, we developed this demining solution, which is based on the three main category is a pattern recognition, data mining, and also data integration with the different AI-based tools for processing and refining the outcome of this. But as you know, landmines are the big issues right now worldwide. Close to 39 countries are contaminated by landmine. Before the conflict in Ukraine, Angola, unfortunately, was a record keeper for the landmine contamination in the world. And then after the conflict in Ukraine, right now, Ukraine is the most contaminated landmine area in the world. And the problem is extensively much bigger than Angola without going to the details. The traditional way of demining, which is a non-technical survey and technical survey, and then it comes to the mine removal and then deposit or destruction, is lengthy process, extremely dangerous. And now with some new tools such as AI, unmanned systems, and virtual reality, augmented reality, there is a possibility to add a new tool. So before I go to the depths of the discussion, I would like to mention that this is a tools, it's not a final solution as some of the companies claim. So we developed this system to be an AI-based, airborne, user-friendly, because demining is not a job that you can integrate high-tech people into the demining. Those ones who are in the field have mostly military background, and this type of the application is not their direct expertise. And in some certain areas, like in Africa or Afghanistan, part of the other side, in Middle East, some of the local community members joined, been trained for the EOD1 explosive ordnance disposal A and B courses, and then they become deminers. So we need to make it in a way that is understandable and easy to use for everybody. The main goal is to reduce the risk of non-technical survey. As you may know, when we do the technical survey and non-technical survey at the beginning, they have to detect where are the mines, where are the contaminated area. They mark them on the ground and then send the demining team down there to detect, remove, or neutralize the mine. And that's a very dangerous process. So we try to integrate all of them in one system. To the detection, airborne to minimize the risk of being exposed to the mines and all the hidden booby traps and all kind of the other explosive trap that they make, and then have the database who can understand how this analysis help the civilians when they return back to the area to be able to understand the extent of the contamination, how deal with it, and how the training through this database can be expanded into mine awareness for civilian unfortunately, most of the victims of the landmine, if not mistaken, about 72% of the victims of the landmines are women and children that have nothing to do with the war. So that's how the system was based on. As you see, is our dashboard. It's a drone base, is one of the drones that we are using, made in Switzerland by XR Technology. And our system is a drone agnostic. So we have different type of the sensors. The one that we are right now using in Ukraine is just an RGB camera with about 40 megapixel and more capacity in terms of resolution, mounted in any type of the drone that can fly more than 45 minutes. Then that drone can be used. Of course, in Ukraine, we have the jamming issue, we have a GPS distraction issue, we have the internet problems, all kind of the package of disasters are there. So this is kind of the very illustrative expression of how the system works. We do the scanning of the ground. We do kind of the pattern recognition on the ground with the RGB cameras that are there. Of course, we work on different magnetometer, GPR, ground penetrating radar, thermometers, and LiDAR as well. But at this stage, kind of opposite of the other companies, they claim that they have the solution. At least we know what we don't know about it, and we are working closely with Ukrainian universities and the other groups to validate the information. So we get the information from the area. It will be processed through the deminer system. The deminer system recognizes a pattern. This pattern can be the images, can be the anomalies detected by the thermal, by LiDARs, or by the RGBs, overlap all of them together in a very fast processing steps. And then the outcome will be the map of the area with the landmine. What we did that made this system different than the other system, we integrated the UNAMIS, United Nations Mine Action standards, and Geneva International Humanitarian Demining Center standard into the detection process. So when we detect, it can define exactly which type of the mine is there. And then it's connected to our database that can define the trigger mechanism. It can define different levels of complexity, of mechanical or technical complexity of the mine that can be used by deminers to diffuse the mine. So we provide all that system. So our goal is to speed up the process. The problem is when you detect the mine and you remove it or you diffuse it, you're talking about 3 to 4 hours for one landmine. And at the same time, like in Russia, in the Ukraine, Russian put about 12,000 mine in about 4 hours with this kind of catapult system. They just throw it in different areas. So, and it's the same in any conflict. It's not about how the Russian do it or the others. The number of landmines are growing much faster than we take them out. So our main focus for the landmine is on the safety, reliability of the operation. And then interconnectivity of the data was important. In the traditional way, it's not possible. Every deminer has his own mindset and his own set of skill and expertise that can use only personally, hard to share. And then the quality and the validation. That's the most important part. That's how right now we are working directly with Ukrainian. We have been invited to go and present and look at some other solution out there. The system had to be tested and validated. That's why we are working closely with different scientific groups, such as CIFAL as well, to find out how the system been evaluated by them, tested, and what are the weak points that we can improve. Unfortunately, some of the commercial companies, they look at the money over moral. For us, even in some certain cases, we have very high level of accuracy in our detection, but we are not still talking about it because it's a matter of morality of this type of marketing. If you make a mistake, people die. Simple like that, and mostly are women and children. So we don't want that to happen. Then we look at the human aspect and humanitarian aspect and consideration about demining. So minimizing the risk to the people, to the deminers, and to the group. And then our pack should be acceptable in terms of quality and standards with the other international group that they set up the standards out. We have seen couple of demining companies, or not demining, this IIT companies come out, talk about demining, and they don't know anything what is IMS standard for demining. So that was our main focus, and we developed it in this way to move on that. It's one of the sample of the database that we have. So if the mine is detected, immediately link it to these photos with the specification that we have, and then we have a 3D model of it. One of the other aspects that we have, if some of the demining, like Halo Trust recently sent us a couple of pictures of the mine that was half buried and was not clear what is it. It was interesting. It was very unusual to find that it's one of the South African mine that was built, cast iron South African mine built about 40 years ago. And the system could detect and come out with the data. So we have a huge database of all of the landmine, their technical drawing and design, so can be used. And it's all available for the deminers who use the system. That is how our processing system works. It's a server-based. We get data from different sensors. This is some of them kind of graphically present here. And this data will go to the processing system. The algorithm overlap the data, compare it with the standards and the data set of the UNAMS and GICHD, and then come out with the final report, which include the report of the flight path, accuracy, type of the error that might happen during the data collection and data processing, overlap, and then provide the final record with the high accuracy to the deminer that they can use it. We use different type of the platform, and it depends on the size of the area. Ukraine is a big country, very much like southern Alberta. When you go there, quite farmland and everything, very much look like Alberta. So we have 3 types of the machines there, plus some, but another 15 types of the machines that Ukrainian build themselves, which are excellent platform. We use, and the first one is a Switchtron that we hope as soon as the conflict is finished, because that machine is too big right now to get into Ukraine, possibly will be attacked by the other side immediately. But that's a machine that we plan to get it after the ceasefire is signed or the peace agreement or the conflict is stopped. Now we are working with XR, the machine in this side, the multicopter, and the other one, that helicopter, which is built in Greece by Velos. They are the platform we use. Our main goal is later add more sensors into the bigger machines like a Switchtron, so it gives us a capability of scanning much bigger area, because the country is vast and not easy to monitor everything. So that's Switchtron has different type of the stuff or other machine that we have. Combine the sensors, we use the sensors, we operate in the area. When you use the SubSphere system or the deminer system, you can choose which platform and which type of payload, which type of sensor, and then it gives you the mission planning based on the specification that the system need to process the mine information and mine data and present it in a right, precise manner to make sure the error is less. So our focus is in high accuracy, and it's dependent on the level of the data we get. That's why we integrate, you choose which platform, which sensors are there, and we can integrate any other platform we use there in the sensor. So that can be used. And it's not only just for the landmine. For us, we can train it for any type of the pattern recognition and use the same mechanism. It's just a matter of being trained and have the data. When we analyze the data from the scanned area, it detects the mines, classify them, and then can even classify them based on the level of the hazard that they have, which Saeedeh can explain to you. We will get a detailed processing report with all the mathematical information at the background to make sure if somebody wants to check that, how we know the accuracy of the data, they can go and check which type of the mathematical statistical analysis has been performed to ensure the accuracy of the data, or define some part of the data is not accurate. During the processing, if something goes wrong, they can immediately detect it and find out where the processing had the issue and go back. So our goal is to turn the land into the processing mechanism. So when we get the data from the land, the data can be analyzed and become meaningful. So if we get the data, we turn it to the information. That information can be used by the expert and is not eliminating the deminers, all deminer. Their skill is still and will be required to make sure we are right. We use them quite extensively. It's not we eliminating deminer, it's just the additional tools. So we give meaning to the lands and turn it to the manageable area that we can work on. I see this is like one of the final reports. You see my pointer or not? That is one of the anti-personal pang, on the anti-personal mine that is there. So when you go to the system, you can click it, show you the picture, it show you the data from that area, show you the full picture of the mine, 3D model of it, and all the specification if you want to do the neutralization process as well. Help you out on that one, and even possibly part of the booby trap that can be built by this type of the mine. And then you can detect all the object. It creates a report. We can have the mosaic of the area. We can have a flight path, very much like what you do in any of the mission planning or Pix4D software is known for that. More or less, we have the same stuff, and then the data can be processed. Besides that, we have this ground-based detection system as well that used by the civilian mostly. If they see any ordnance, that Saeedeh will explain it to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So in addition to the drone system, we create a form to be used for collecting the data. So representing our approach to the field data collection using the QField app and mobile GIS solutions that particularly well suited to the harsh field conditions. This tool is integrated with QGIS, enabling us to build and deploy custom data collection forms that can be used seamlessly in the field and sync for further analysis. Next slide, please. Before heading into the field, we first designed a structure form in QGIS. The purpose was to ensure consistency and completeness in the data collected. And the form includes key attributes such as the AT8P, the coordinate systems, and the photos that can be inserted over there in the comments and notes. Next slide, please. And here it will show the more details.
Does it change, Saeedeh?
No, it didn't.
Okay, that means now?
Yes, that's
Okay.
great. Thank you. So here is the details of the forms that designed. It contains 3 tabs, and each one of them includes different options, which include a drop-down list for each one of them. So, for example, for AP, it's in combined different, maybe 15 or more of different options that we can choose. Trigger mechanism, deployment method, and in general info, it's include the photos and locations that it can input and insert, and the coordinates information that will be automatically be filled and doesn't need to be enter manually. So next one, please. So once the form was finalized, we synchronized it with QField Cloud to ensure accessibility to our mobile devices. Here in the field, the demining teams use the QField app to directly log mine data on site. The form allows user to select values from drop-down menus to reduce any errors and ensuring standardized input. Next one, please. So every entry is for the georeference, for the coordinates, every entry is automatically georeferenced to give us the accurate spatial data without manual input. Once the data collection is complete, we sync the records back to QGIS using QField Cloud. And back in QGIS, the synced data becomes immediately available for geospatial analysis. This allows us to map mine locations with precisions, analyze spatial patterns and risk, and ultimately make data-driven decisions to support safe and efficient demining operation. This process from designing farm in QGIS and to collecting field data via QField and back to GIS for analysis, it creates a robust streamlined workflow for mine data management. And next one, please. And here is, once we got back to the QGIS, the data automatically, immediately will be available in the QGIS so that we can apply further analysis to it.
Thanks, Saeedeh. So Saeedeh mentioned, before I go to that, so right now in many other areas, in addition to Ukraine, there are mines and booby traps and explosive UXOs all over the place. So when the civilian return back, at this stage, Ukraine is not in a very bad shape because civilians are kind of moved from the areas, less exposed, but the area that been evacuated packed with all kinds of the explosives. So when they go back there, they don't have the knowledge, and it's not possible to have enough available resource and experts to do that. So the app that they develop, and we develop in the system here, Saeedeh explained it, they can take a picture of any type of explosive they see or suspected object, and then immediately one of the experts in our team will see that there is a report coming out from the field, blinking the map. They can go and look at it. And then the closest deminer groups and association that we work with them, they receive the same information as well. So they can find out who is closest to them, because they will get the text, don't touch this stuff. This is a dangerous, this is a landmine, that's anti-tank, anti-personnel, is a booby trap, is a mortar 80 millimeters. So that helped to keep them safe. And that is another part of our kind of just a feedback. I can also work, Dr. Askari and his team are doing the main part of that work to develop this virtual reality training system that we get the data from the field and we train the civilian that how these things work and what is a landmine, what's a dangerous explosive devices on the ground. And then back to SubSphere, our next step is to integrate the data. As you see on the other side, this drone is kind of the illustration of the final system that we are working on it. Multi-layered sensors with the heavy lifting machines that has a capability of flying more than 2 hours. And there's a work going on with a couple of the drone manufacturer in Europe that we are working with them currently. And the rover that you see, there's a Sacramento Core, that's a robotic company in Canada. We are working directly with them and with the ICT that they make rovers, and 2 other groups in Ukraine. So we put the robotic hand into that. It will be based on the augmented reality system. So we create a distance between deminers and landmines. Unfortunately, for every 200 landmines that been removed, one deminer get injured or killed. And that is a very difficult situation because replacing deminer is not easy. They're highly experienced people, and it's not a job that you have open applications waiting for it. It's dangerous. I did demining myself, so you're not sure we will go back home at the end of the day. So that is our work in progress in collaboration with a couple of universities in Canada, Switzerland, Germany, and Ukraine. So how we made this partnership model to help us to learn better, not to sell our stuff, is about technology transfer. So we get the feedback direct from the front lines of those who are facing this danger. We bring that information into other groups that have the knowledge about it. We do this technology exchange and technology transfer. Any other players that we see in the market, we ask them that you may want to join us because your sensor or your system, your solution can help. Then we do the technology enhancement in collaboration with different group that I will show you the name of them later. And everything is based on that local knowledge. There has been some solution delivered in Ukraine. I was assigned to look at it and go through the system, and it's so complex and it's not even built for the situation like in Ukraine. So complexity doesn't mean that it's a perfect solution. Sometimes we have to keep it simple, follow that principle, functional, simple, and easy to maintain or work with them. So there are our partners that some of them we didn't list all. In Ukraine, we work with the National Aviation University of Ukraine, the same group that built the Antonov, Maria. And they have a robotic lab, they have an AI lab, they have the computer science lab as well, because when the aviation is everything integrated into aircraft. And they build, of course, a lot of missile. Ukraine was the brain of the Soviets in terms of aviation and space knowledge. We work with the International Humanitarian Demining Academy. This is an initiative in Ukraine developed. They are building this center to focus on training all the international groups for the humanitarian demining and do the testing, validation, qualification of all the new technologies coming out. Unfortunately, a lot of money is spent on this kind of marketing, blah, blahs, that our system is better, but then it didn't work and people were injured. The other one is the Ukraine Association of Humanitarian Demining. So there are about 46 different demining groups under that umbrella, such as UDS, which is one of them as well. They are the Ukraine demining services, so they work together. In Switzerland, we work with the GICHT, which is an international recognized body for the demining operation training. We work with the Technical University of Zurich, and we are a member of, right now, the only foreigner member of the Switzerland Innovation Park Ticino, which is focused on the unmanned systems, robotic, ground, and the sea base. We are working on the sea mine as well, the barrier stage. So that's why we joined this group that have all the facility. XR Swissron and LiDAR Swiss are the producer of technology that we work with them. And in Canada, of course, an honor to really be the, I must say, a learner and a student of Dr. Askari and the CFOL group to learn more about this thing. We work with the University of Calgary as well. Our presentation was in Geneva, UN Mine Assembly, about months or two ago with both university. Sacromer Dynamics is the one that work on the robotic arms, and then we innovate Calgary Aerospace Group. We work with them as well. In Denmark and Norway, we work with this with Ropla. They have an office in Ukraine as well. In England with Halo Trans and the New Tech ICP, that is a main developer of the rover, Grand Rover that has been tested with the NATO forces. And in Greece, we work with the Velos rotor, that their machine was that helicopter you see in the electric helicopter. I have my ex-colleague Stephanie and Sarah can give you more information about them. They're the expert on that machine. After the whole thing, we do all the processing, all that thing at the end. This is SubSphere team in Ukraine. So we give all the information, but then they have to go to the field and do the ground checking with a high level of accuracy this time. It doesn't mean that we eliminate the miners. They have to go there so they know the area that we marked to make sure that there is no kind of a traps there, but still we have to scan the area. They remove the mine that are visible or semi-visible, or system need about 3 to 5% of the mine to be surfaced, and that's what the case is in Ukraine. But still they have to be very careful. So it was recently extremely cold, hostile condition. You can be targeted by all kind of the drone kamikaze stuff coming from sky, rockets, artilleries when you are doing demining. But they do the situation, as my colleague Stephanie mentioned, unfortunately, we lost one of our deminer a couple of days ago. So he asked me what's the best solution for the landmine. It should be no more landmine. The Ottawa Treaty, and that's what to be proud to be a Canadian group, we need to really promote, and we are doing that, the Ottawa Treaty to ban landmine. This is a killing unethical weapons that has been developed, unfortunately, during different wars and conflict, but it has to be removed. It should be absolutely no landmine, and no country should have any excuse to use a landmine. But unfortunately, some of the countries, big countries, have not even signed the landmine treaty. So they are in mass production. You can buy landmine up to $2, $3 in the black market in many areas. But generally, for every mine that costs $10, you need $1,000 of money and 4 hours to remove one landmine. The time you plant a landmine is about 2 minutes, so you need 3 hours, 4 hours to remove it, to take it out. When you plant it, 2 minutes and 4 hours to remove it. That's end of our presentation, and contact is here if you have any question, and I'm open to any other question here. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Shahab and Saeedeh, for that important presentation. It's so nice to see that this very needed work is being done in areas like Ukraine. We do have some questions coming in, so I'll just jump into those. Our first question is from Frank. He's asking, how do you track a lost drone? Have you ever had a situation where you've lost a drone in the field, and do you recover it?
Yeah, we have different tracking systems on the drones, and of course in Ukraine is a difficult situation because they can't do the signal jamming, so a lot of new technology is not possible. Yeah, if we lose the drone, we will send generally a ground rover to pick it up. That's what we work with the Dropla. If you look at their website, they have some ground rover can go and grab the drones and bring it back. And the reason is, in some cases, we notice they shut down the drone because it's the middle of the minefield. It's a heavily mined area, and they were hopeful that we just walk there to pick it up. But yeah, it happened. Right now, the only way we do it, we just go there with the ground rover, because if they jam the drone and crash, sending another drone is not an option. But we are working with the other group, WIV drones, that they have the FPV drones that they can go manually go there and just grab the things and come back. So yes, it happened.
Thank you. And a question for me, has it been challenging working in an active war zone? Do you have some sort of group working with you for protections? Is there, like, are you working with the government to kind of buffer some of these areas that you're working in?
Yes, it's not easy. I was unfortunately, in one hand, unfortunately, in Kiev recently, when was that heavy attack of 100 and something missiles and about 200 drones in one night from 1 o'clock in the morning to start at 6 o'clock. So that's the capital. But when you go to the area, there is always chance of snipers, drones, and all this thing. Yes, we work directly with the government. There is a Ukraine, Demining Ukraine, which is under the Ministry of the Economy. They are operating it. We focus on the humanitarian demining right now. We don't do anything because demining, military demining is a mine breaching. It's not even demining. You just open the pass to go. We focus on humanitarian demining. We work with the Ukraine Association of the Humanitarian Demining Group. So they provide us the access, all the gear. It can be bulletproof jacket to the anti-mine protection system. Yeah, it's challenging. It's challenging. I've been recently 1 month in Ukraine, and a couple of times I was not sure I will make it out of there.
Okay, that's a tough answer, but thank you for letting us know. Our next question comes in from Katrina. She's wondering, are there any plans for you or SubSphere to work with other humanitarian groups in other regions that are currently affected, like Gaza, for example? Do you have any plans of expanding outside of Ukraine, or are you just focused on Ukraine at the moment?
Yes, yeah, interesting question, and thanks for asking. I forgot to mention something during my presentation. My last UN presentation in Ukraine that was organized with UN, a lot of companies were there. So we announced it that our system is free of charge for any humanitarian operation, which many companies were not happy about what we are doing, but we did it. So we already work with 15 mine action groups in different countries. You asked about the Gaza. We haven't received any requests from the Gaza directly, but we are right now working with Cambodia. We receive requests from the mine action group in Yemen, Lebanon, Iraq, Afghanistan, Azerbaijan, and we are working with them. So with the whole Central Asian, which is center of this, Azerbaijan, then Azerbaijan, Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan, all that Eastern countries, which is about 9 countries on that region we are working. We got from South Sudan. They're going to implement our system. We provide them the access soon. North Sudan, there are different regions. It's not clear who is controlling which region. We received requests, but then the follow-up didn't happen. From Libya, I had a meeting with the Libyan delegation as well. So in short, yes, we out of 39 countries, we are in the process to implement our system in 15 countries in the next couple of weeks. And it happened after we presented in the UN. assembly. And we are open. If anybody has a landmine issue, they can just contact us. We will provide them the information.
That's fantastic. Great to know. And yeah, that was another question that I had about your data. If it's open source, if once you've worked with it, are you publishing the data? Is it just open for if people ask for it? How does that work?
So part of it, like the system that Saeedeh developed and Gabriela, this is open source. This is, again, free of charge. Anybody wants to use that one or help us to join us to implement and improve it, we are absolutely open. People will have access to that. The Deminer system, we develop it ourselves, is not the open source. The algorithm is not open source. And for the humanitarian work, they will get access to the system solution. So they don't need really to get to that. But our long-term goal is, and I'm in negotiation with different United Nations agencies and the international demining groups, that we hand it over to one of the groups, because still we are covering the cost of the processing, hand it over to one of, for example, UNAMIS or GICHD, that they become an open source software, and then we just maintain it and update it, because there's a lot of complexity, unfortunately, added each time to the landmine. Let's say they become to booby traps. But yeah, this is our long-term goal. I believe this shouldn't be a system people gain money out of it. Even some groups are charging $500 per hectares. And Ukraine only get from UN $50 per hectares to do the landmine cleaning. So that was, we look at the immorality of this type of the thing. I'm said it's free for Ukraine and any other humanitarian operation. They can use it.
That's great. The next question, either Shahab or Saeedeh, whoever wants to answer this one, would you be able to speak a bit about the various types of landmines or unexploded ordinances? Do you work with plastics, metals? How do you detect various styles and various depths? Maybe you can go in a bit about the analysis of that.
Yeah, so we work with all variety of the landmine, every known landmine registered as ordnance in the list of the UNAMIS. We work with all of them, plastic and the metal mine. And there's been a question about the metal part of the metal detector or magnetometer. But when you are in an area that recently I was there, you are walking in the all kind of explosive and all kind of leftover metal piece of artilleries or shells and all these things. So the magnetometer is false negative is quite high. And then we don't get the data properly. But yeah, we work with all of them. That's why we have multi-sensors to detect different type of landmines.
That's great. How have you been able to process like the false positives and the false negatives? Do those come up a lot? Is that a tough thing to kind of work through?
Yes, we develop a system to just look at it, and in some cases, so one is we look closely to the information and find out, okay, why we have that errors and that false positive and false negative. If we can sort it out through our system, so we will go back. It become kind of the manual process. You just go, okay, can I zoom in and see what happened there? If we cannot, we send it back to the deminer expert. That there are people who are removed 400,000 mine in their life. So these guys, they know what can happen. It recently happened with the UDS. They sent us the data from Ukraine and we couldn't see any mine, but it shows that there are landmines. And then we asked them to go and check. Meanwhile, we printed high quality poster, send it to one of the deminers, and he's the person, old guy, sitting and looking at the stuff and with the markers that they are all landmines. So how do you know? He said the grass shape has changed and the land was, the color and everything. So this is a landmine. And we noticed that apparently our algorithm is now doing the process of by self-learning and recognize the pattern of the changes on the ground, even the mine is not visible. So that's how we do it. And the other cases, we send my team down to the field to go and check that there is some issue in this area. Can you go and check? And we just go to the traditional method with the metal detector.
That's really fascinating. Okay, so you've got experienced veterans, I guess, in this area, passing on their knowledge, and then you're using technology to kind of build on that and train your data.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's fantastic. So we don't have any other questions in the Q&A box. If it pops up, feel free to ask, but I can open the floor to the other panelists here. Sarah, Stephanie, Reg, it's great to see you guys. Dr. Ascari, if you wanted to pop in, or Francesco, we can maybe have a bit of a dialogue. If anyone up on the panelists has any questions, yeah, feel free to jump in.
I just wanted
Maybe
to.
for Stephanie, I would like to especially thanks, you see that same team, Stephanie, Sarah, Michelle, and Saeedeh. When I was working at Saeedeh, that was the idea of landman, and in Canada, landman, people waiting, how is it? They were the pioneer, really, they are the pioneer. I've built a lot of my knowledge based on their knowledge and their skill and their testing. So it was not just, it was me and my team in SubSphere behind it. And that was really their help. I'd like to thank you all for not helping us or our company, but helping the people who are affected with this. There's a special thanks from Ukrainian Demining Association that I've been honored to be joined and trained as a certified deminer in Ukraine now. So that's thanks from Ukraine to all of you.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to thank Shahab for his passion on this. This has been a long time passion of Shahab's for a number of years. He's kind of spent his own money and time and effort because he really truly believes in this work. And I'm glad to see that the work is moving forward and in typical Shahab fashion, making it accessible to everyone. So thanks very much, Shahab.
Definitely. I echo that. Thanks. It's been an honor to see it kind of grow from the early days and see what it's become now. And it's just incredible to see where it started and where it is at now. So props to you guys.
Yeah, I can also repeat whatever Stephanie said. And yeah, thanks, Shahab. And thank you that you believe on me and bring me in this industry. And I'm so happy that working in drone stuff.
Love you.
We do have a question from an anonymous attendee. They're wondering, how can someone work or volunteer with SubSphere? What kind of skills or qualifications are you looking for?
We're looking for the people that have the background in autonomous system. So any type of autonomous, so drone, ground rovers, boats. That's one section. The other one is high skills in AI and computer science as well. Plus GIS is always behind it. So you are all have a GIS background. The foundation of what I'm doing is just in front of you, Stephanie, Sarah, Michelle, and Saeedeh. GIS background is necessary as well for us. So GIS, AI, and autonomous system, they are the people that we work with them, and we are looking for the people with that type of a skill. And of course, as I always mention, a form of the creative craziness as well, to think out of the box.
Definitely. I'll also type in your email for whoever was wondering. It was on the screen, but I'll type it in again. Feel free to email Shahab, I think, right? If you have any questions, follow up, or if you're looking to volunteer. Perfect. And Francesco, yeah, go for it.
Hi, yeah, thank you. Great presentation, both of you. It was really interesting. I do have a couple of questions since there's some time. I guess one question, kind of following up on the answer to Michelle's last question. So you mentioned how you're training your system to identify where landmines are, even if they're buried underground, based on like the changes in the land and the grass and the color and the shape and everything. Is it possible to get to the point where you might be able to actually tell what kind of landmine is buried there based on those kinds of like physical features that you're able to see from the drones?
Yes, this is, I wish I had the photos to show that how is it, because like the depression it creates in the land or the change of the color of the grasses can be right now. My colleagues are working on that okay, which type of landmine based on its diameter and type of explosive can have this impact. It was something that we learned from the old deminers, that these grasses are not just dry out this area. If you look at the color change to something a little bit grayish green, and that means that it's ammonium sulfate base explosive which you'll use in the V2 anti-tank landmine. And then the diameter more or less show that. So we look at that one, and that's what we hope we can improve it to find out what type of the explosive been used and then will be easy. It's not something I try to make it simple, not complicated that, oh, we do something. No, if you have that information, then the system can process it. Yeah, that's our goal, to do that. To some certain level, I said 50%, we can find out which type of the mine is this.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, and then I just had one other question, kind of also about the future of the technology. Well, like, 'cause since you mentioned like landmines can be placed in the time that it takes to take out one landmine, if other like hundreds or thousands of landmines can be placed in that time, is there like, do you see this technology getting to the point where you could, well, I guess not match that speed, but like kind of improve that speed and cut it down more so that demining entire sections or entire places are more possible? And then as like a second part to that question, like what is kind of the threshold or the goal of demining an area? Like, do you always aim to completely demine? Are there sections that just have to be cordoned off for like permanently if there's too many mines in that area? Like, how does that kind of play out?
Yes, it's a matter of
The land release, the process that the land is clear and released to be used for any kind of normal activities. That is our hope. My main focus is to create a kind of the MRI system that we can scan the land, and that can visualize all kind of explosive there. That's why we focus now on all type of artillery shells as well, because they are in the area as well, and they can be direct threat to civilian. It's possible. I think if international communities and government really focus on that issue of the landmine, it's possible. So this collaboration, Ukraine, I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, it was a trigger point that everybody think about the landmine again, because many countries have been forgotten. You know, they have a landmine, they deal with it, you know, every year. 200,000 amputation is okay. But now it brought the attention back. There is a problem. There is a big problem. So we hope gradually, with a kind of the ground-based scanning system in a bigger scale, we'll be able to realize my dream, I hope, become true, that we do the MRI of the land and then remove all the explosives, because it's not just a matter of explosion that caused by them. After 30 years, 40 years, they release toxic material into the soil. And in some certain area, even the mine is not functional anything because it's cracked down by nature. But that soil is not useful anymore. It's a contaminated soil, and almost there's no way to clean it up. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's our goal.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, and I hope that's able to be a goal that's realized.
Yeah, fantastic goal. Imagine if clearing mines is cheaper, faster, more efficient, more effective than placing mines in the first place. It would be totally useless to do that in the first place.
we are open to anybody.
Have any ideas? We are open for any ideas. Anybody think that every idea is good, no idea is a bad idea or a stupid idea? We are open. Anybody think that there might be a solution or a technique to use? As I mentioned, for humanitarian work, we are not charging anyone for that one. So anything you can share with us or any idea you have is most welcome. We'll be very happy to integrate that idea in the system and test it. Is it working or not?
Yeah. Okay, I guess we've about 4 minutes left, so maybe we can wrap this up. I just want to say a huge thank you, Shahab, Saeedeh, for your incredible presentation, for all the work that you've been doing with SubSphere. It's great to see it grow, and it's great to hear what you're saying about it being open to the public, the data, the ideas, and everyone just being welcome to input their ideas into realizing this goal of no more landmines in the future. Thank you again to Sarah and Stephanie for joining us, and of course, always making our presentations a bit more insightful. And thank you, Francesco and Dr. Ascari, for hosting and all your support with this series. We're on session 8, which is incredible, and I didn't actually think the series would go on as long as it has, but it's great to see that it's still going strong. I'll pass it on to Francesco for other remarks.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I just want to quickly echo my thanks as well. Thank you so much, Shahab and Saeedeh. Sorry, Gabriela wasn't able to join us, but that was still a fantastic presentation. I really respect the work that you're both doing, or that all of SubSphere is doing. And yeah, it was great to learn more about it. So yeah, I'm just very thankful that you were able to share that.
Thank
And
you very much.
Thanks for the opportunity you provided us, and hopefully we expand our collaboration. And thanks to Dr. Asghari Ali. Thank you so much for facilitating this learning process for everybody and allow us to participate. And thanks to my all ex-colleagues as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
yeah, thank you. And then I just wanted to give one last quick reminder that this is being recorded. So for our audience, if they want to revisit this, watch the presentation again, or share it with anyone who couldn't make it today, it'll be up on our YouTube channel a couple of hours from now. So please feel free to check that out. I did put all of our social media in the chat, including the link to our YouTube channel. And as a reminder, this is a monthly session on the third Thursday of every month. So we will be having another session in June on the 19th, I believe. So please mark that on your calendars as well. And we'll see you then. Thank you so much. I hope everybody has a
Thank you,
great day.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Care.
Bye.
Bye.